me do this and change my name. Hey, everybody. We will be starting soon. Okay, cool. This is my room. This is my room. You all see my room. Can you all hear me? If you want to start putting in the chat box. Hey, Lena. Look at this light. I wish the light was a little better, but whatever. Hey, everybody. Hey, my bed is made. This is how I make my bed. Okay, so no, you guys are not on camera. So okay, let's good. I'm glad everybody can hear. Hi, everybody. Oh, I think this is Tara. So Tara, I'm gonna put you, make you let's see, how do I make you? I want to make you a panelist, Tara, or not a panelist, an attendee.
Oh, whoops.
It's okay. I think I knew that was going to happen. And if you want to, I think you have to make yourself an attendee. But hey, you guys keep yourself on mute, Tara. That's fine too. Oh my gosh. Okay, so literally thousands of people signed up for this. So it's going to be a little crazy, but I did not expect so many people signing up for these webinars. We literally had thousands and thousands. So yikes. So hopefully our Zoom doesn't explode. And cool. So we're going to start in a bit. Yes, Stuart, I did tell you to. So good. I'm going to take attendance for the top tier writers. So yay, so excited for you all to be here. I have a feeling that, let me put this for Tara. I have a feeling that I might have to upgrade our Zoom in a few minutes. So that's probably going to happen. Like I said, we literally had about thousands of people sign up for this, and things are going a little crazy, but so excited for these webinars. We did these last year and they were so much fun. Yeah, I think this is going to fill up in a second. So yeah, so Tara, if you're listening, you might have to, not yet, but I'll let you know if you have to do any upgrades. Okay, so let me see if I'm going to do a little talking at the beginning. And then we will jump right in and get started. Oh, I think I just saw Kerri. Okay, Kerri's on. Cool. Awesome. So I'm in Los Angeles, if somebody said that. So there's, because there's so many people on, if you put stuff in the chat box, it's going to get lost in 2 seconds. So just make sure that if you have any questions, there might not be time for too many additional questions, but because I have some already questions prepared, but yeah, this is going to fill up shortly. So slight chance we might have to, no, it should be fine. Like I said, we weren't expecting such a big turn up for these webinars, but let's get started because this 30 minutes go by really fast. So I'm Joey Tuccio. I'm the CEO of Roadmap Writers. Good to see everybody. It's going to be such an awesome month. We have Kerri Ann from Disney Plus, who's here, Katie Mullins from Netflix, Kevin Houvain, the head of CAA, the creator of How to Train Your Dragon, Dean DeBlouse, the creator of Entourage, the head of Kevin Hart's company, a lot of amazing people. And so for Roadmap, we are a program for writers, help train writers, also helping to connect writers with industry executives. We just had our 161st writer signed in the past 4 years. This, so far for March alone, we had Tonya signed with Valleywood Entertainment, Elba signed with 3 Arts, Alice signed with Anonymous Content. We have a writer's project in production now at Hulu that we discovered a couple of years ago. So that's finally in production. So much going on, and so excited to see you all. Not only does this benefit you all for the writers, but I also have an animal rescue called Animal Rescue Mission. If anybody wants to go to the site, it's let me just go to it. Let me just try to get the URL right now. It's the animalrescuemission.org. And so if you want to look there and donate, I don't get any of the money. It all goes to the animals. We just rescued a dog from Mexico. This is gonna be really sad. So if you trigger a warning, cover your ears. But she got hit by a car and she was left at the side of the road, and we rescued her. And now she's got a surgery. She unfortunately can't go to the bathroom by herself anymore. So we're looking for fosters. If anybody's looking to foster in the Los Angeles area, please let me know. Thanks, Jen, for always having my back. We officially reached capacity for this webinar. So a lot of people are going to be mad at me that they couldn't make it. So Tara, if you are listening, if you want to upgrade, that'd be great. I'm going to get a lot of angry messages soon. But for speaking of messages, tweet at Roadmap Writers. It's going to be such an awesome month, learning from so many amazing people. I can't believe we just reached capacity. Jen, if you could put the link in the webinar and the thing again, that would be great. But let's get into this. We have Kerri Ann here, who is amazing. I love her energy. She works at Disney Plus. We're going to talk a little bit about what she does there, some do's and don'ts for pitching and all that jazz. And let's get started. So promote to panelist. Hi.
Hi, friends. How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm so good. Thank you for having me.
Well, let me tell you this right now. We have reached capacity for this webinar. You're very popular, and we literally had thousands and thousands of people sign up for this. So it's going to be a little bonkers. I love the already Disney-esque pick a banner behind you.
I did this not only to represent the company, but also because it makes my eyes pop. So you can automatically tell I'm super vain. Love it.
It took me 30 minutes to find this shirt. I'm like, I need this blue shirt.
The blue shirt is, you're crushing it. It's beautiful.
So why don't, if there's anybody, sorry, if anybody, I'm going to keep the chat box going for now. If there's any weird messages that come in, don't click on any links, please. I might have to stop the chat box if anybody's being weird. So far, so good, but don't click on any links. Please, no link posting in there for sure. Okay, so Kerri Ann, tell us a little bit about you and what you do at Disney Plus.
Yes. I am a creative executive at Disney Plus. I work for, if you go on Disney Plus, there are the tiles. You've got Marvel, you've got Star Wars, you've got Nat Geo, and you've got anything with Disney. We are Disney branded television, and that's where I work. So it is anything from the Mighty Ducks reboot to Mickey Mouse Clubhouse to Descendants 1, 2, 3, and soon to be announced magical thing that's coming. That's what I do. I am a creative executive, and I work for the multi-platform department. What does that mean? We don't know. It's like, hey guys, if you wrote something that's not a movie or a 22-minute sitcom, it's ours. So we work in like as a SEAL Team 6 for Disney. If it's a short, if it's animated, if it's stop motion, if it's 20 minutes because they didn't like the tag, it's ours. And we create and we write them, and it's super fun.
So what does short form actually mean?
I'm sorry.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. So what does short form actually mean? Or what does, like, if it's not a film or TV, like, what are you all looking for really?
Right. It's such a, it's evolving every day, and we have conversations all the time about it. And we're like, what is short form? Because honestly, if you wrote a sitcom and it was only 20 minutes, it falls under short form. And that's like a union jurisdiction thing. So what we're looking for is a good story. And I personally don't care how long it is. I am not trying to make a commercial break. I don't care what car insurance you buy. You know what I mean? Like, do your research and pick it. Don't wait for my show to end. It's sketch comedy. It's variety shows. It's anything that tells a story in a new way. It's vertical storytelling, for phones, for YouTube, anything where you're like, this isn't my mom's TV. That's what we want. Does that make sense? And not like your mom's.
So somebody, yeah. Leave my mom out of this. No. So if somebody submits a feature, and if it gets into your hands, can you then turn it into something that fits your division, or does it have to automatically be in short form content?
If you gave me a feature and I was like, this is a great story, and it was predominantly told in a way that was more on your phone, or in episodic little chunks where I was like, this could be a daily story. I would absolutely work with a writer to see if we could change it and make it a, a shorts mini series, if you will.
Cool. I love that.
Yeah.
And is there any place, so where in the Disney Plus site can they look for your short form content? So they can kind of get a better sense of what it is, like visually.
That's the company's in a bit of a reorg right now. So
Okay.
it literally changes every day. Currently, if you go on to Disney Channel, our content is all over there. And there's also something called the Disney Now app, but we are have moved and in the process of moving over to Disney Plus.
Got it.
So
Okay.
if you click on Disney, you'll find it there. Especially if you put like the kid parental things on it, then you'll really be able to narrow it down because it's a huge amount of content.
Love it. So a lot of what we do at Roadmap is pitching oriented. What are some of your do's and don'ts for pitching?
Don't ask me what I want. Come in and tell me who you are and what you do. And here's why. Because what I want today isn't what I need 2 weeks from now. And if you come in and you're like, hey, this is me, this is how I roll, this is what I write, and I'm like, oh, we're kind of going for this, but I really like that. And then 2 weeks later, my boss is like, why don't we have this? And I'm like, hold on a second, beep, boop, beep, come in, we need you. Like, so that's my biggest thing is when people come in and they're like, I'll be whatever you want, I'm like, no, honey, be you. Like, yeah. I want you to be you, and you're a piece of the puzzle. You're going to fit eventually.
I know when we talked the first time we met, there was such a need for writers who write very authentic characters based on who they are and own voices and all that. So when somebody starts a pitch, is it important to start with a little anecdote about who they are and what connects them to the story and the characters?
I think so, especially because I think in this year alone, Hollywood has come so far in being like, oh, we should hear from other people. Yes, friends, we should. So I think if you come in and you're like, hey, I grew up out and proud, and there was no very special episode where I came out. I was just always myself, and you want to tell that story and show other kids that they can live that life. Yeah, I want to hear that. I want to hear from you. If that's what you're comfortable disclosing. If you're like, you don't really need to know anything about my personal life, you don't have to tell me. You could just be a really good writer. Does that make sense? Like, I never want to put anyone on the spot in like, here I am. But yeah, like, I would hope whatever you write, it comes from your experience.
And when somebody gets in the room with you specifically, because you have so much energy, I know you have an improv background, which is great. Like, what do you say to the writer who is super passionate about their story and excited, but they get nervous, or they set too many expectations, or they're just very introverted, it's hard for them to get across their passion? What would you say to those writers to help convey how excited they are in their own way?
Yes. First off, I would hope you would be in my room, because I will help you. I am a nurturer by nature, and I would make you soup, and I would hug you, and it would probably be but what I will say is, it's okay not to be an extrovert. It's okay to be inherently shy. Let the work do the work, and the work will do the rest. Like, you've got to show up and do the work. So if you are not passionate and you're like, here's my show, as long as you have answers, like, you've done the work, you're like, I do know why this character is. I only write sci-fi because of this. I do see it being short form because of this. If you give me answers, but you're a little intimidated and or not as passionate and as, holy crap, she owns the room, the work is more important, because I can sell snow to an Eskimo. Do you know what I mean? Like, that old expression, which is probably inappropriate now that it came out of my mouth. But if my writing sucks, or I don't back up my story, or I can't speak to why the work is important, I just won the room. I didn't get the job.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
So that's great. So yeah, for sure. So it should alleviate some of the stress for the writer if they come in and they're not the most skilled pitcher, but they're a skilled writer. For you, it could still be a win, and for the writer, it could still be a win.
Yes. I will say though, if extroversion is not your happy place, make sure your pitch deck is solid. So what does that mean? That means your character breakdowns are funny. It makes me want to read the pitch deck like a book, as opposed to he was born here and blah 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 and all this boring information, and you're like, he collects garbage can lids. What? Why does this character do that? Why did you put it down? Why is that funny? How does that tie into the story? Make sure you have good pictures. I know everyone has an imagination, but sometimes executives forget that. So if you can put pictures on, do it. Like, make it a beautiful children's book of your story. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And when should they, like, when does the pitch come into play? Before the pitch? Do they send, like, do you want it like during the pitch, after the pitch?
I prefer if you, well, every executive's different. Some executives do not want you to send anything because there's a legal ramification to reading it. Because if we have something in development that you don't know about that is very similar, which PS happens more frequently than than you would think, you can bring it. They may not read it. I always like it if I'm allowed to see it, because I get a sense of who you are, how you are conceptualizing it, how you visualize it. And there's always something to sign legally that absolves us from it.
Got it.
Just, but don't,
something
I would say don't be offended if I say, no, I don't want it. It's never you. It's some lawyers here screaming at me.
In tower number 3 behind you.
Yes. Oh no. It's like they have many floors, friends. There's a lot.
I can't even imagine. Oh my, especially over there. So you said something before that was really interesting about going in and not being like, yes, Kerri, yes, whatever you want. When you're working with the writer and giving notes, like how much, like I think sometimes writers are afraid to like have a back and forth and be like, I don't know if I agree with that note. For you and your writers, how much you want there to be a creative discussion, and how much, when is it like, okay, this person's just being too combative?
With me and my writers, we're in relationship, right? So I want you to succeed and I want you to be you. And I also work for the Walt Disney Company, and that brand is real strong and real specific. So it's never an argument. It's a, I let you do you until I say, honey, it won't get made. So you can do you and we can make this, but then it's going to go live on a shelf like my T-ball trophy, you know, like it's not gonna, like I don't play baseball. Do you know what I mean? Like, so you know, and then so it's never you're being combative. It's me letting you know what we can actually do and what we can't. And it always, for Disney, and I'd be interested to hear what it's like for other people, it's always about the brand. We protect the brand at all costs.
I'm sure.
And that's, you know, whether or not you agree with it, whether or not I agree with it, doesn't matter, because they're gonna win. So I tend to not have any combative writers, because what are you going to do? Mickey Mouse says we can't swear. We can't swear. Like, that's what we can do. And I fucking love swearing. So, you know.
So you, speaking of the brand, like when it comes to the actual pitch, like, is there one element that you look for in a pitch, in a story, more than anything, whether it's like the hero's arc or the world? Like, is there one thing that for you is the most important element?
Yes, it has to make me laugh. Okay. Even if it's a drama, because I just watched a new drama we're developing that was surprisingly dramatic, that I was like, whoa, I was like, we're getting all in our feels here at Disney. But the pitch still made me laugh, because people are funny, even in the worst scenario, right? Yeah. So that's totally just me. That's something, because I need to know what you find funny, even if it's dark material, really informs your point of view. Now I know what is going to make you cry as well as what is going to make you laugh, which is often the same thing, you know, because we're all pretty wounded. So that's important to me in a pitch. It's also how well do you know your character? Like if I said, well, what if I put this in a high school because I got to age this down a little, and you were like, oh, I don't know your audience. I work in kids space, which means you have to know what the character would do in college. You have to know what the character would do in high school. You have to know what the character would do in 5th grade. to come to me, because we will change the age. We'll be like, we got plenty of stuff for preschool. Like Disney Junior is a self-running machine. I need 6, 7, 8, 9. And
Wow.
do you have an answer? And if you don't, you got to be really good at faking it, like me. And if you can't fake it, then you've got to do your homework before the pitch.
Yeah.
You've got to have some answer, even if it's, you know, not what it's not what I want to hear. It's what have you put into your work? Like, what thought have you thought?
So these are questions that writers should be prepared for prior, like not only the pitch, but like, let's say Kerri Ann gives me a curveball and says, what about this, that, and the other thing? So these are things that they should be prepared.
Yes, I think so. It's, you know, again, it's knowing your audience, right?
Mhm.
If you were to take this to a senior center, you better have some nostalgia and possibly Beatles songs in your script, right? Because they're going to really be on board with you. If you take it to a 7-year-old boy, put a fart joke in. I'm not saying it's the best thing, but I am saying you're going to win your audience. Same thing with the person you're pitching to. If you know, there's a difference between Disney and Netflix and, you know, DreamWorks Animation, like, and Nickelodeon. Like, look at the shows, think about what it is, so that you kind of get where they're going to go.
Perfect segue to my next question. I know I went a little tangential with the other one, but that was perfect. When writers are looking for companies to pitch to, sometimes it's just like, it's just one thing after another for the writers to try to like do some sleuthing. But if they go to, you know, a place like yours and they have a project that's similar to something you guys have done before, already produced, successful or whatever, when they're coming in, do you like when they use those comps for you because it's in your wheelhouse, or is it the first thing you're thinking of? Well, we already did that. So if you have something too similar, we don't want to do it again.
That is an interesting question, because I feel like the right answer is no, we want you to be original, but then we reboot every single thing we have done before. So, you know, like, I'm like, I don't know, guys, what do you think? Like, I think Disney will always gravitate towards storytelling with heart. We're not interested in educating. Again, these are not my opinions. This is just what I know. Like, we're not teaching. Like, there's no Odd Squad, Daniel Tiger, not here. We are interested in emotional journeys, in best friends forever, and in education only if it's an emotional journey. So that's where we're at with kids. And if you go through all of the younger skewing, not our classic animation, because that stuff is dark. If you go through the younger skewing stuff, you'll go, oh, I see that. So I would definitely come in knowing that. But in terms of, you know, if your show isn't exactly Disney, but it has that, we want it because Disney is not cool, right? We're not cool. Like, we are not the cool kid. Like, we're the one raising our hand going, you didn't assign homework. Like, nobody but, you know, there's value to that kid, right?
Yeah.
So how do you love that kid and bring the spunky best friend who probably should be on Nickelodeon because they lit something on fire, but how do you marry those together so that they learn? Like, does that make sense? I feel like I'm just talking on a Saturday.
No,
that makes sense
awesome.
though.
Yeah.
Because I personally don't want the same thing. I want something new, but I do want to know that my kid isn't going to be a jerk after watching your show.
Yeah.
I want to know that my kid looked at behavior and said, I'm going to choose kindness and a fart joke, you know, like
always have to balance it out.
I mean,
when somebody is pitching, going back to the pitch for a second, I think it's important to like for a pitcher pitching to you or similar to understand the vulnerability of the character, the emotion, why we connect with the character, the layers. Do you like when they start the pitch with kind of like the overall theme? Do you like it peppered throughout the pitch? Because the theme, the emotionality seems very important. Like, how would you like the writer to convey that in the pitch?
I think you just have to say, this is the story of a girl going through puberty.
Mhm.
That's enough of an emotional journey for me, that has frankly lasted a lifetime. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
that's, now I know who she is. Now I know what she's going through. Now we can go to, why is your story different? What is funny about it? What is heartbreaking about it? How does she navigate it? How do the people around her help her or hinder her? But I don't need a lot of journey, like, and then after this, if we start, if it's a school year, if it was September and she was here, then in March she's here. I'm not worried about that. That'll change and evolve.
Interesting.
I'm interested in how the character feels about what's happening to her. So tell me what happens to her, and then why is it interesting that she feels this way, and how does it surprise me? Because I would think you might be really like, oh my God, it's so embarrassing, I got my period. Or maybe you go, oh, does this mean I get money and a party? Like,
Yeah.
it's, you know what I mean? Like, how does the reaction to what the kid's going through make you go, oh, that's so, because kids are so weird, right? They don't react the way you want them to, or you think they're going to. And I think that is what I want to see in kids television, because adults have no idea what kids are like. They just forget. And real kids surprise you. So I think that is very important in talking about it. Like, how is this character going to surprise adults and have kids go, yep, that's real? Does that make sense?
Totally.
I veered from the topic.
Yeah, no, it's great. One thing that's just really kind of really makes sense to me with what you were saying is that for anything Disney oriented, you can't forget the characters. Like, the characters stay with you forever. There's not a day that goes by that I don't pretend that I'm Belle from Beauty and the Beast. Like, there's just same. I'm in that tower behind you. It's like, it's just so interesting. And I feel like everything you're saying makes so much sense for the writer to come in and really know that character inside and out. What are some, at the end of the pitch, it doesn't have to be character related, but are there common questions you ask the writer? Whether it's tell me a little bit about yourself or tell me a little bit more about your character. Like, are there any common questions you ask?
Yes. I will always ask you, why short form? Why is this short form? And if it's not, you need to know why you would break up your feature script and make it shorts. So if you don't have an answer for that, get creative real fast, right?
Yeah.
Because that is always the question that I get asked by, when they're giving out money out of the big bag of, Mickey Mouse ear money, and they're like, why are we making this short form series that's going to debut on YouTube and then go to Disney Plus? And then I have to explain to people that the children love the YouTube. And after I win that argument, I have to say, they go, well, why can't we just make it a movie? And I'm like, because I need a job. Like, I mean, like, and that's not, that's not,
yeah.
And it's because, so you tell me why your story is short form. I know why I do short form. It's because I have a very short attention span, because I think kids digest things more easily in a short way. It's because I love the Muppet Show, and all of those really hilarious things were no more than 2 minutes, and you got a bunch of them. You know what I mean? I love Saturday Night Live. People are like, oh, it sucks now. Part of the reason why it sucks is because of commercial breaks. A 3-minute sketch has to be 6.5 minutes because they got to get, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and they got to sell, I don't know what they sell at 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm too old to stand. But that's, you know what I mean? So like, that's why I love short form, is because I serve the story, not the delivery system of the story.
If you can't answer this question, just say pass. Because I feel like I love short form. I have no attention span. So like 6 minutes in, out, fine. Why do you feel like Quibi's focus on short form didn't succeed?
Ooh, I can answer this question. And friends, I am like just a lady. I have no power or authority on anything. I think it was a confluence of events. I think a lot of times very smart people who run businesses are very successful at running businesses because they're not a creative. But if a creative doesn't have a seat at the table,
Hmm.
when thinking about decision making, I often find that it's not as successful.
Hmm. I
Walt
love that.
Disney is a creative. Many smart business people built an empire around it. But at the end of the day, he bankrupted himself multiple times to make a cartoon. So like maybe not the best business decision. So I think that was one component of it. I think the pandemic was another component of it. And I think without strong creative direction and a lot of money, you're going to get a lot of varying things. And people are like, why would I come here if I want to watch a short with my kid because he gets 3 TV shows before bedtime if they're 5 minutes? And that is a negotiation I win because he thinks he's getting more, but he's not. Then I'm just going to turn on Disney. Or I'm going to turn on Netflix, frankly, because I actually really like their kids content. And so I'm going to go and I'm going to find something new there because I know the brand.
Yeah.
And with Quibi, I felt like the brand was.
Yeah, that's very true. I didn't even think of that. If I was like, I'm interested in this kind of show, like Quibi wouldn't come to mind because I didn't even know what kind of shows they did. Like it was just so sporadic.
The
Yeah,
only
that
thing
makes
I
sense.
knew about the only thing I knew about Quibi was the amount of money that they paid celebrities to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And so when I saw the Princess Bride thing, that's my #1 movie of all time. And I was like, oh my God, it's Princess Bride. But like, it didn't make me go out and get Quibi because I got it on Instagram. So that's the other thing. Like, if you're doing short form, especially for multi-platform, you've got to know where your delivery system is. Like if you were making an IGTV series, you've got to know why it's an Instagram series and how you're going to reach Instagram users and why those, predominantly millennials are going to tune in. So like when we drop information about Descendants on Instagram, it's for people who have aged out of the kid space, but are still like, I'm gonna tune in and see what's going on with Mal and Ben. You know what I mean? Like, because they still care. But that messaging is very different than to the 9-year-old who's watching it and, wearing the costume all day.
Before I go to the next question, I just have to ask the last question. The one thing I have to say about you, from the little we conversed, any writer would be so lucky to be working with you. Like you are so positive, you're so writer friendly. And sometimes when I talk to execs, it's just, you can tell they're a little like just robotic and just going through the motions, but you're so alive. And I think that's just so exciting to any writer that works with you. So the last question I have.
Thank you. That's a lovely compliment. Thank you.
And I totally mean it. I'm literally getting texts to people saying I'm obsessed with her.
I fooled you all. No.
But the last question, I always ask this question for these webinars, because with writers, there's so many ups and downs, so much rejection. There's so much, inner saboteur talk. For you, for Kerri, what keeps you going through the ups and downs? Through you pitch something to the bosses and they say no, like, how do you keep your eye on the prize?
Such a great question. It's, I'm not gonna lie, it's very challenging. First off, I started acting when I was 7. So like rejection, I'm just like, nope, cool. Like it doesn't, you know what I mean? Like It doesn't really even land on the emotional trampoline of my life. Like I'm like, you don't like that? Awesome. I don't care. But that takes a long time to get, and there are still times when I get wounded. So I don't want to make it seem like I've cracked that code. I haven't. When you're in kids TV, you're making a serious choice. Some people, and like the executives that perhaps you were talking about, didn't choose kids TV. They just got a lot of money and they're just always trying to be better than kids TV or cooler than kids TV, or it's a stepping stone to some other thing. That is not me. I love kids TV because I love kids. And what keeps me going through the ups and the downs and the reorgs and the pivots and the green lights that get pulled back, and then you're like, I don't know why I am in television when I could be so good at making pottery in Vermont. I actually don't know how to potter, but I feel like it would be easier to learn than deal with it sometimes. Is when I was recording voiceover. My actor was in Australia. My director was in Spain. My animation company was in Argentina. I was on a Zoom for 9 hours. And this little girl who was 10, who's been having a really, really hard time with distance learning, who's, you know, was a writer I knew, it's his daughter, and he was talking to me about how hard it was. I said, hop on Zoom with her. I was like, but let her know this is coming. And they were like, and he was like, oh my God. And I'm kind of spoiling a little, but we dropped a breadcrumb yesterday where Boo Boo Stewart, if you all know who he is, and Sarah Jeffrey were like, something's coming. So it's out there. And so if you don't know who they are, they're in the Descendants franchise. So that's all I'll say. So I'm not spoiling anything because it's out there. So this little girl got on Zoom and she saw a recording session. And she had a conversation with that actor, because my actors, who I call my babies because they're so little, and now they're in their 20s, but they're still my babies. They don't like that, but deal with it. She was like, hi, how are you? And just like talk to her. And this little girl who's been having behavioral issues, who has been absent from school. These babies have lost a year of their lives because of this. Like, you know, and nobody gives a shit about kids. I care about kids. And that's what keeps me going, is that little girl. Like, the dad texts me. He's like, you don't understand. He's like, this is like, I should pay you for years of therapy. Like, her whole life was changed by meeting this actor on a show that she loves. And that's why I do it. Like, I can't do that for every baby, but if I can do that for one, that means the content that I'm helping create and shepherd into the world is making a difference in kids' lives. And like, I get it. Like, it's a romance about a girl who turns into a dragon. So like, it's not really like the most like amazingly complex narrative ever, but kids don't need complex narratives. Kids need escapism, and they need fun, and they need something to identify with. And that's what keeps me going, is that I love kids and I want to make their lives a little bit better if I can.
Your heart.
My heart.
You're so great. Oh my God. I love. Okay. Thank you. Everybody stay on for a bit. Kerri, thank you so much. This is the first of a few webinars we're doing. And this was so inspiring.
Was it? Okay, good. Because I was like, people are going to be like, that lady just kept talking. And
no, oh my God. Do you see the comments? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Again, I'm getting texts as well.
Oh, hi, friends.
Smoke signals, all this stuff. So everybody stay on for a bit. And Kerri Ann, thank you so much.
Thank you, friend. I just adore you. And friends, help the puppies.
Help the puppies, yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I super appreciate it. It's a huge compliment.
Oh my God, you're awesome. Bye. Oh my God. By the way, somebody was putting something in the link about sharing. Don't do that. About the links or whatever. Okay, tell me what you thought, what you loved. Maybe I could stop the recording.